Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time to check in with women's basketball. We're joined by head coach Kurt Westendorp. Coach, first of all, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
I know since the last time we talked back in the first semester, obviously you guys have played a lot of basketball and having another great year, 14-5 overall. Just kind of talk about where your team's at right now.
Yeah, I think the team is growing very nicely. You know, we've had to overcome injuries at the beginning of the season and kind of in the middle of the season, but we keep growing, we keep competing. We've been able to put some good road wins kind of on the resume with a good win at Parkside a couple of weeks ago that really helped us. And now that we've got this first round of conference, you know, under our belt at 8-2, you know, it's a nice place to be, second place alone in the conference, and now we're really ready and eager to go around this league another time. That second round is always more difficult. We got 7 road games. So looking forward to those challenges, but I like the way the team is progressing.
Obviously, coming off of last year's trip to the Elite Eight, the national semifinals, you've had some new kids kind of step in and some kids that have taken on bigger roles here for your team this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a different team. You know, every year teams evolve. You know, the program, you want to have the same values and the same work ethic, you know, and those same principles that we're trying to go after. But this year's team is doing it a lot differently than last year's team is doing it. So we've had a lot of new faces step in. Mia Riley has really added a big scoring punch for us. You know, Maya Hiram stepping in and down low and giving us a big scoring punch. You know, and really up and down the lineup with Emma Skierbeck coming in and giving us some good scoring punch. You know, Deshauna Day we've been able to count on. You know, I could keep rattling off every single player that's really stepped up and done a nice job for us, and I think everyone really has. You know, they did a great job in the offseason kind of getting ready for some new roles, and during the fall semester we kind of had to play out some different lineups, trying to do some different things defensively, some different things offensively, you know, finding what really works for this team, and we really found out that we're pretty good when we can get up and down and transition. We're shooting the ball really well from the outside, and defensively we're able to give some teams some different looks with some different pressures with presses, you know, as well as our traditional man-to-man.
As we go to the highlights, we'll start with Thursday's game against Northern Michigan, and I know maybe not the performance you'd like to talk about first, but obviously a weekend against 2 very good opponents in Northern Michigan and Michigan
It's okay. You got to take the good with the bad, and this was probably one of our worst performances we've had since I've been here, and we'll give a lot of credit to Northern Michigan. They did an excellent job, you know, defending, really disrupting us, not letting us get in any kind of a rhythm. And offensively, they came out attacking. You see here, they moved the ball, knocked down shots. They're a tough team to defend. It's a hard matchup for us, but that's not really an excuse for us. We got to be a little bit more detail-oriented with our focus, and that's something that we talked about as we recovered from this game into a better performance on Saturday, is we just had to be a lot more locked in. There wasn't a whole lot of things that, you know, we could point to that were positives to take away from this game, unfortunately. Usually if you lose a game, you're like, okay, we still got a few positives. But Northern really took it to us. They did an excellent job. But we did a nice job of responding and learning. And that's something that this team had to go through and grow through. It's unfortunate. We don't want to learn through these kind of performances, but you have to be able to move on to the next day, and we did that very well.
Obviously, Northern, one of those teams that presents some challenges. They've got a lot of size and jumped out to an early lead, and it seemed like you kind of had to play catch-up out here for most of the way.
Yeah, we did. It was one of those games where they came out hot. You know, defensively we mixed up a little bit between man and zone, and they have dangerous players both in the paint and on the perimeter. They're not really a team that you can just take away one part of their game. But coupled with that, you know, we really did not shoot the basketball well. And when I think we missed our first 12 or 13 threes. When you're not hitting from the outside, it kind of exacerbates the problem. You know, we gave up 37 points in that first half, which is not a good half of defense, but to only score 14, you put yourself really behind the 8 ball where you have to be close to perfect in the second half. And we were much better in the second half, scoring the basketball, saw it go in a few times, get a little better rhythm. But defensively, we still did not execute, you know, what we needed to do. Giving up 78 points is way too many points to give up in a game, even to a good team. So I'm glad that we came back and held, you know, Tech this next game under 50, you know, really showed a little bit of our resolve. So it's an unfortunate game that we had, you know, but we definitely did learn from it, and we got to be a lot better when we play them up at their place in a few weeks.
Obviously, after that loss on Thursday night, you had a chance to kind of regroup and get ready for Saturday, and took on maybe one of the hottest teams in the conference in Michigan Tech coming in.
Yeah, they're coming off a 3-game winning streak, you know, wins over Wayne State, wins over Saginaw, and then they scored over 100 points on Thursday night against Lake State. So they're coming in hot. They're shooting the ball very well. Another team a little bit similar to Tech that has a good inside-outside game. You know, they have a few guards that can really score the basketball, and they try to pound the ball inside a little bit more than some of the other teams did. We definitely did a much better job of defending the paint, making sure that they were trying to take the shots we wanted them to take, And offensively, we came out and I think we hit a 3 on the very first possession. It was great to see that ball go through the basket. We played with pretty good pace because once you start to get some stops, a play like this right here where defense turns into offense, you get the defense back on their heels. We still didn't shoot the ball great in the second quarter, but even though we didn't shoot the ball great, we still had a lead because our details on the defensive end were so much tighter. And then in the second half, when we got hot, our defense really kept picking it up, and it went from a really, really good, close game to a blowout really quickly. Plays like this, hustle plays, I know we don't finish that play off, but you see 3 white jerseys swarming to the basketball, playing with a lot of energy, playing on their toes, being the aggressive team, all things that are staples of us when we're playing really good basketball. So it was great to see us kind of get back to our foundation here in this second half.
Obviously, getting some contributions kind of up and down the lineup. It seems like any night could be somebody else that kind of leads you in scoring.
It's kind of the way that it needs to be. For a lot of the year, when you were a little bit off, Caden Blanchard was there to pick up some of the slack, but she's not out here, unfortunately. She's going to be recovering from an injury that will keep her out for the remainder of the season. So we know that it's going to have to be different people on different days, and really based off of what the opponent shows, defensively, where can we attack them? And we feel like we have weapons at all these positions, whether it's inside or outside, able to move the basketball, attack them the way that L's able to attack them right here, get what I thought was a foul in the game. So seeing it the second time, the official might have been right. Sometimes as coaches, we're not always accurate with our first look at the play. But we know that we have to be a team that you can get contributions from everyone, and we know that people are capable of doing it. So give and take to that is sometimes, you wish you would have that go-to player, and I think that we'll develop that a little bit more as the season goes on. You're going to see Mia Riley, you're going to see Maya Hiram, you're going to see Kenzie Bowers. Those are 3 that are pretty high-powered offensive players, as well as players that can really do their roles of getting to the basket well, like Deshauna Day and Ella Irwin knocking down shots from the outside.
Obviously, this week you mentioned the second round of GLIAC play starts, and you're on the road at Lake Superior on Thursday. Then kind of a unique schedule, back at home on Monday night against Roosevelt, which will pay its first visit to Wink Arena.
Yeah, we're kind of getting into that NBA part of the schedule for the next week and a half. You're going Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. It's a lot of games in that stretch of time, getting those 4 games, but they're a little more compact, and we don't have as much depth as we've had in the past as far as healthy bodies. So we got to really manage our bodies. We got to make sure that we're going up there with energy on Thursday night. Lake State always plays well at home, and then getting back to Roosevelt at home, we took care of them quite handily in our first game on the road. That was also way back in December, and they've put some big wins on their resume since then. So they're a much different team, and then taking on the Grand Rapids rivals and back-to-back games. Like, we know it's a heavy stretch of games. The practices are a little bit lighter, a little bit shorter, a little more game plan focused. But I think that we're going to be up to these challenges, and I'm looking forward to hitting the road and playing at Lake State.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time, and best of luck out here coming up this weekend.
All right, thank you, Rob.
That'll do it for Ferris Sports Update. Reminder, you can follow all the action online at ferrisstatebulldogs.com. Have a great week.